Hi, I'm Gina Wells,
Hi, I'm Kat Toon.
and this is the Success Principles Podcast. Michigan is known as the birthplace of Motown, headquarters to the auto industry, and home of the beautiful Great Lakes. The Success Principles Podcast features professionals and entrepreneurs with ties to this great state who have demonstrated innovation and success both within and outside of our Mittens border.
Our guest today is Michelle Daniels, Chief Chocolatier at Homemade Chocolates by Michelle and owner of Homemade Chocolates by Michelle, located in Flint, Michigan. Michelle, thank you so much for being on today. I'm really excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Gina and Kat. I'm so excited to have this opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Well, let's get started, Michelle. How did your Homemade Chocolates by Michelle get started?
Yeah, I've thought about how to answer this question. I started my business. I started making chocolates as a teenager back in the day, so it's been a hobby for me for most of my life. And I was a stay-at-home mom. I worked one day as a dental hygienist, so I made lots of chocolates for my kids' classrooms, that type of thing. And then friends got wind of it, so I've always made chocolates for people. My sister asked me a long time ago, if you ever opened up a business, what would you name it? Chocolates for free, because I gave everything away all the time. Funny thing between us. But in 2012, my life changed overnight, and my husband became ill, and I was a stay-at-home mom, worked one day a week as a dental hygienist. Kat knows that. And I had to figure out what I was going to do because he was terminal. So we were fortunate to have him for 2 years in my life, and I took care of him and had to figure out how I was going to move forward. We weren't quite ready for me to retire at 50. So I my friends all rallied around me, and I started the business in my basement under the cottage law and had several friends. Everyone rallied and helped. My husband was at home. I think about that sometimes and wonder how he felt about that in hindsight, but I think he liked it. It gave him a little life, people coming in and out of our home, and we designed, chocolates in the basement. So in 2013, we knew his time was limited. So he helped me get a license in LLC, and we talked about doing the business versus going into dental hygiene because I wanted some flexibility at my age since I'd not been, to a dental chair every day for the last 20 years. So we started making the chocolates in my basement, like I said, and I had one gentleman that kind of gave me an incentive to maybe want to do the business outside of my home. He is a financial advisor, actually, and he totally said if you could get a license and give me receipts for the stuff, I could actually sell your product because he's had it at parties. So he was my first inspiration to really want to go out and do something bigger than what I kind of had planned. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was winging it. Maybe sometimes I still am. But so in 2014, I lost my husband in May. And so it's been 6 years now. And October of 2014, we moved to this brick and mortar here on Bristol Road. I rented just a small portion of the building, came up here because I needed something for low rent, didn't go into a big retail shopping district. The landlord here has been amazing. So I've graduated over the last 5 years. I now have the whole building, and we've taken over, the whole building. So he worked with me financially, which helped me. And a lot of people were naysayers about, why did you go to Flint Township? You'll never make it up there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm from Flint, and I believe in Flint. And I just took a chance that I thought I would be more of like a manufacturing facility here, not so much a retail store. But what happened is, it became the jackpot spot because all the hubs are right near me, the UPS, the FedEx, and the post office. And now people can come from Clarkston, Flushing, Grand Blanc, Lapeer, Davison, versus if I would have gone to Grand Blanc, paid the big rent, I probably would be out of business by now. I grew it very organically, just borrowed a little bit of money every time I needed something, didn't go for the big hoopla to get the big everything. So I think people have watched the journey of me grow, and that's kind of how I started.
That is so great, Michelle.
Thank you.
You gave a lot in there. And first off, I'm sorry for the loss of your husband. That had to be hard. And some of the success principles that we talk about are perseverance and moving forward and, things that shape us to be who we are today. And you just mentioned your Michigan roots are from Flint, right? So
Yes,
did you grow up in Flint and graduate from Flint?
I did. Yeah, I graduated. I went to Holy Redeemer grade school and then ended up going to Carmen High School. I graduated in 1981. So I'm from Flint, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was a
I'm an
Carmen.
81 graduate myself from Central.
Okay. Probably know
I'm sure you two have crossed paths before at
Sure.
some point.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
the
so that's
best.
kind of how it started. So
So Michelle, you quite literally took your business from the basement up and grew it from the
I did.
basement up. Not having necessarily, a background in business, or even in restaurants or food production,
Right.
what were some of the lessons that you learned or had to kind of the challenges you overcame along the way to try and grow this business and establish it?
Yeah. I've learned so much, Kat. That's the key here. The two words that have been ingrained in my head over the last 6 years is learning and growing, and I'm still doing so. But I take advice from a lot of people. A closed mouth is a closed destiny, I've learned. And I try to go to people that I know what they're doing in the business. And I kind of called it after my husband died that I have different ropes. I would grab a rope to go to the next rope, to the next rope. And so I didn't have a clue. Like you said, with business, I didn't know anything about it. I have one gentleman that's kind of guided me. He's a little angel from heaven, friend of a friend of a friend. He came into my business one day and wanted to talk to me to see if he could help me to teach me some of the rules of business. The creative part was easy, the business part not so easy. So he has guided me along the way. And the first day he came in, as a funny side story, he listened to me, and of course I was crying and told him I didn't know what I was doing and I could never do this. And he listened to me as, Gina, you heard me, I can talk. So can't tell me to be prepared to
That's fine. That's what it's about.
so you have to get me to say, okay, enough already. But he totally, after I talked and cried and all the above, he said, I just want to tell you two things. I'm hard of hearing. So if you want me to help you, you have to slow down and let me hear you. And he said, the crying will have to be for your girlfriends. But short of that, I think I can help you. So I had to be a grown up at that point, So he has been with me since, and we meet every month, and he goes over all the graphs of all the way my business is. He totally given me so much expertise, and he's made me realize I can't do all the business stuff, but I put people in the places where I need it. And my strengths, of course, are I'm the face of Homemade Chocolates by Michelle. I am a salesperson. I can sell my product. I believe in my product. And so that's kind of my biggest role, obviously, other managing everybody also.
Does he get free chocolate for life?
He gets free chocolate for life, and I gentleman will not take a penny. He's done everything for me pro bono. I don't even know how I've been blessed. He's one of 100 angels that have come my way. So I feel blessed. As much as I've gone through, I feel like God is good. So
That is great. A friend of mine was going to write a book, Pull Up Your Big Girl Panties, right?
yeah.
Because it's tough, right? But, there's things that we struggle with, and it sounds like you have been blessed to find people to help you to overcome. And that is part of success principles, is that you let other people in and go, okay, help me. How can I get to the next level? And then when you get to the next level, you can do what you do best, which is obviously making delicious chocolates.
Right.
I want to thank you because one of the advertising things you did probably in the past few years is send them out to business owners. And I did receive one of your beautiful chocolates and just enjoyed it a couple Christmases ago, I think it was. So thank you for that. So
Thank
a little
you.
bit about your advertising and how you had mentioned that you've got some clients that come around from Clarkston and everywhere else, and you're right in the hub. So are you going just inside of the state of Michigan, or do you go outside of the state of Michigan?
No. Yeah, we actually ship nationwide. And we also go to Canada. We've tried international. It doesn't work so much other than Canada. No, we definitely ship across the U.S. It's taken a big process to learn how to do the shipping because our chocolates are fragile. Obviously, the temperature comes into play. So when you talk about how I built this, it's been a lot of trial and error. So some of my friends that live out in Wyoming or Colorado have gotten free chocolates. Some of them have come melted while we were learning the process. Do you know what I mean? But so they got free. We sent everything out to all different temperatures to do the homework to see exactly what I needed to do to perfect it. One of the things I can show you here is this is a bereavement tray, which I'd love to share and talk about later. But
delicious.
Designed a shrink wrap system.
Mm-hmm.
So I can ship this tray. Now we put a beautiful cellophane wrapper on it with a bow, and customization, Gina and Kat, is our biggest thing that sets us apart from most people. We will put a personal tag, anything your heart wants to put on paper to the gift that you're sending. So it's been a lot of, like I said, trial and error, and we've learned a lot along the way. I had no idea that for one little chocolate piece of candy, it needed 6 labels, the ingredients, the expiration, the allergy. There's just so many things that in my basement, I had no idea what was involved. The state of Michigan, the rural and development has been amazing to help me. The girl I work with has totally put me ahead of the rest, and I've made her, I think, pretty, she's pretty proud of the things I've taken proactive to get ready, because things are going to be changing. Obviously, with COVID and everything, just there's a lot of things that'll change in the food industry.
I do want to get back to COVID a little bit, but just piggybacking on what Gina said, your oval brown logo is pretty recognizable, especially around here in Flint. I know that anytime I'm a customer, so anytime I give your products away, and I do it as teachers' gifts, I do it for bus drivers, for any occasion, any chance to stop by your shop, everybody said, "Oh my gosh, I love these chocolates. This is my favorite." Everyone seems to know you. Is your marketing or and I don't want to call it marketing because that sounds super, well, I guess I just want to know, is it thought out? Is it structured? Or, how have you built your brand?
Sure.
Just.
Okay, well, I can tell you at the beginning, like I didn't know for sure what was going on. I had a friend help me design my brand, and I didn't even know how you designed a brand. So we sat and we went back and forth, and Homemade Chocolates by Michelle was what I came up with for the name. And a lot of people naysayed that because they thought it sounded just too not professional enough. And I had to come to terms with, I had to be me. I'm not Godiva. I'm not Lindt. I was never trying to be something I wasn't. So my chocolates are homemade. They're handmade. There's no factory. There's no machinery. Every chocolate that comes to anybody is fresh, homemade, and made here on the premises. So Homemade Chocolate by Michelle turned out to be actually, I think it's a lost art, if you will. And I think that people really like that I take the time to do customization for them, fresh and whatnot, so they get it. But the way I would say, Kat, that I built it at the beginning was word of mouth. I'm obviously pretty friendly, and you can laugh as having younger kids. My kids dreaded going to the grocery store with me because they knew I was going to talk to 6 people in line out of the grocery store. So I think I'm just out there, and I have cards with me, and I share. And so that was how it started. And then I realized that wasn't enough. I can have my little circle, but I needed to get outside of that circle. So then I hired somebody to do social media for me. And if you followed my social media with Facebook, Twitter, all the above, we're getting bigger all the time. Going more to YouTube, starting to do videos. So she's been a really intricate part. She gets my products. She's spent a ton of time in here taking pictures of all the different things that we do. So that's been huge. I'm just getting ready now with my website to go to the next level with that. I've met another person at the gym actually just talking, and he's kind of the next level. So we're getting ready to revamp our website that will go more national, and working on the search optimization engine, trying to get things more nationally out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's great. And that means that you need more employees and different things. So
exactly.
Besides the people who have helped you, mentor you, and get you to where you're at now, how do you support making all the chocolate from hand? I mean, how many employees do you have?
Well, it varies. So we have different times of the year. We were, people ask, are we seasonal? We are and we aren't. We're no longer just seasonal. We were at the beginning. Christmas was our biggest holiday. Now we're open all year round. So I try to come up with new creative ideas all the time. So I have on staff, I would say 3 to 4 chocolatiers daily. At Christmas time, we can have anywhere between 4 and 10 back there. So, and then we have 3 people in packaging and 2 salespeople. So it just varies. It's a balancing act. I have to make sure I'm not overstaffed so I can afford it, but yet that's my job, is trying to manage what I'm going to need. And everyone wants the crystal ball to know what the future holds, and I don't. Now COVID has completely set me back. Everything changed for me during that time. If you'd like me to share what happened during that time.
Yes, definitely. Go ahead.
Well,
some of the challenges in a business because of this. Do share.
Right. Well, we were completely, I would say our online service, our online, sales were not huge prior to COVID because we just were getting there. We're getting there. That's what's happening. In year 6, I'm turning the corner and we're getting out there. We've been trying to push it, but it takes time. And so I thought when I went online 3 years ago with online sales that my life would change overnight and I would have thousands of sales. It doesn't work that way. It takes time for people to get to know you. And I had to learn that the hard way, learning more about the keywords and all that type of thing. But during COVID, what happened was I had staff that were afraid. We were all afraid. Everybody, everything changed. So some of my staff was not comfortable coming in. Some came in. So we had a little bit of both going on, which was tough because we were, having to work harder, and my family stepped up. My son did all the deliveries. So we went from being a retail store to I did free delivery for all my customers during that time. And we did, 100 deliveries during a week. So it was Easter time. Wow. I didn't know I would have business when my staff left that day of March 17th or whatever day that was. It was traumatic for everybody in every business everywhere. Mm-hmm. So with the family and friends that stepped in, we managed to still get sales. And there was a question, are you essential? And of course, I'm pretty certain I was, but I didn't know for sure. So I talked to the state of Michigan and found out that I was. So that was good, which I obviously would have been shut down otherwise. But what happened was I then did some deliveries myself, which I still do to this day. And I saw essential from a different point of view. I saw people who were isolated during COVID, and I would bring, there was a particular man that bought 15 gifts for his workers who were struggling and working at home, which they hadn't, and learning to do everything differently. And I dropped off thank you packages from him. And so that type of thing just started happening all the time. And we started getting people wanting to send stuff to the hospitals. So we designed a nursing hero basket, a doctor hero basket. So I had to use my innovation, my creativity to figure out what people wanted during this time. I went to the door and we didn't stay. I rang the doorbell and we left because of obviously the, contact, social distancing. So what happened was this woman came running out of her house one day and she was crying. She's like, you have no idea how much this chocolate will bring me joy today. So I learned that essential from one point, but it was so much deeper than that. And I think that Ramona is a gal that works with me since my basement, and she's watched this whole journey. She's walked the highs, the lows, she's watched everything. And I think that we want our place to be not just chocolate in a conversation. And I think because I've gone through adversity in my life, and everybody does, I'm not alone. When my husband died, I thought I was the only one that lost someone. You do think that when you're going through it. But we are now able to talk about him and build this bereavement tray that I'd share with you. And it's given people to let their guard down and tell me about their adversity. Kat, you've had your adversity. We've talked about that. We all do. And so I think when you can share with people what you've been through, it gives them a chance to let their guard down and share with you back. Would you agree with that, Kat?
Amen.
I'm too busy almost.
I know, I am too.
You're making me cry, but yeah,
I've watched you from day one with your baby in a carrier at Holy Family, and how blessed you were, and you are. Look at you. Look where you are today from what you went through, and look at the Owen is a godsend. Yeah. So we all have stuff, and I've known you since you were a teenager. So I've watched your journey, and you did it. And so guess what? I did it too. And I talk about the different questions, and I tend to lead conversations. So please stop me if you want. But at first, back in my day of my perfect little world that I thought I lived in with my husband, I think that we valued success on money. And that was my gravy trainer for my kids. Was my kids had to learn the value of a dollar when their father's income was no longer coming in. And I had to teach them that money does not make you happy. We had a nice life, but it didn't make you happier, And so I think I've learned that, people are like, oh my God, you're so successful. And at first I was really, wanted to say, well, not yet. But I've come to terms now that, no, I am successful. I have perseverance. I've tried. I work hard. I'm not going to stop. I won't give up. And 2020, honestly, was supposed to be the year that Homemade Chocolates by Michelle really turned the corner. It's time. It's been 5 to 6 years. I'm going to turn the corner, and then boom, COVID comes. So yeah, it was.
I think you did turn a big corner just to overcome what you've done. That is just marvelous, Michelle. It's a great story. We did,
but it wasn't without a lot of tears and pain and everything else. So I do think now that we've gotten through it and we did survive COVID, I think we're still recovering from, and it's not over. Obviously, it's probably going to come back with the vengeance. I don't know. But now I'm more prepared to know what I have to do for my people to make them safe and those types of things. But so I think that it's just to go back to the question, I think I lost my train of thought, but I just think that you just perseverance,
Right.
Well, Michelle, what you just were kind of talking about kind of, I think hopefully gives people, the sense of why you are successful at what you do. We're not just buying chocolate, we're buying you too. I mean, really, you just make everybody feel so good about themselves, and you care about people, and it's not a skill that you can be taught. So, anything that you go into, you're going to be successful in because of who you are. So
we do have a product which helps. And I have a girl who runs my front shop. She can sneak in this video if you'd like her to. She is one of those people who has people skills. People love her. And when she was not here because she had to take care of her parents during COVID, people were like, "Where's Ramona?" And it was kind of like, "Oh, she's not here." So it's amazing how Ramona and I like to call our place Chocolate in the Conversation, not just a chocolate spot. We'll do whatever it takes to make our people happy.
That's right. The teamwork is where it's at. When you have a great, successful team, it means for a successful business. Congratulations on all of that. That is really, really good.
Yep.
So, you've had influential people who have shaped your life. You've got people who are continuing to shape your life. As you look forward after COVID, like you said, you're going to turn a corner here and be very successful. Does that mean going outside of Michigan and really, does it mean boosting up the employees? Tell us a little bit about what you see in the next 5 years for your chocolate.
Yeah, we've actually just recently done a big meeting and talked about that. It's time. I have a head chocolatier who's very, very talented. I put a lot of pressure on her to make everything perfect. She does an amazing job, and it's time she needs help. And I have to come to terms that it's time to. It won't be an easy task to find someone to help her because it's not the job for everybody. That's the hard part about our job for chocolate making, because it's an art, but it's what we design, and we have to train people. And she's done such a great job training people, but we seem to find more people that want to work part-time, which is awesome, and it helps us. But we're now getting ready to advertise for someone. We actually need 2 chocolatiers to move forward. August is when we start prepping. Well, we're already prepping for Christmas as far as packaging and ribbon goes. That we have Christmas in July here no matter what, but not with chocolate. We start after that. So our biggest business is at Christmas time. So I'm working right now to find people that can come in. I'm looking for 2 chocolatiers, someone that loves to loves to work with chocolate and has artistic ability. So that, along with that, we have new brochures. Like every year, we just keep changing constantly, getting our name out there more. And my online presence, I started to say, and this is the truth, like what happened last January to December, and I'm not kidding, it seems crazy, we had only 150 online sales, okay? So you can say that most of my stuff is retail or corporate business. And like what you received, Gina, my advertising way that I do it is I send things to offices with their personalization on an Oreo cookie or a tag, because if they don't taste it, they won't know. So I put out the product, because if you don't get to try it, so if you ever have a contact for me, I'm sending chocolates to that person who is in charge of marketing that will say, "Oh my gosh, you have to try this," because without doing that, I'm nothing. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I market. I take like 15 or 20 every half of the year, and we just send out chocolates randomly to people. And if I get 2 out of those, 10 people, I'm gold. So that's how I do my marketing. Whereas I don't spend a ton of money for a billboard or in all the advertisements, because it doesn't pay off. People don't necessarily read that for me. They have to taste my chocolate.
Definitely. And our slow word of mouth is a great way to do that. And hopefully what we're doing here on this, when out there on LinkedIn, you're going to be busy, girl.
So excited. I really am. It's weird. When Kat called me, she said she was honored. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm honored. So it's a win-win for both of us, So that's it.
So Michelle, this is a little bit different than what we normally do, but it seems like the team is such a big part of what you do. Are you able to? Is the team able to stop in and say hi, or pop in and
today?
And yeah,
yeah, absolutely. She's gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna have. There's just 2 girls here today. We're a little slow because we're starting to open back up. Ramona and Julie are here today.
And we didn't actually really get too much into the chocolate, but just you've got chocolate covered Oreo cookies, which are my favorite. Chocolate covered Rice Krispie treats, which are my favorite. You've got turtle pies, which are my favorite. Like,
keep talking, Kat. You're selling. Keep going, girl.
I'm for sure making a visit.
To talk about the chocolate while we're waiting for those gals, we make 7 different chocolates daily that are my standard product that go in our trays in our boxes. It's a chocolate covered caramel turtle, buckeye, toffee. We do all sorts of different, stuff like that. So there's 7 or 8 different chocolates. I'd like to introduce you to 2 huge parts of my staff that are with me every day. I have Julie and Ramona.
Hi, Julie and Ramona.
Hi. Here. Julie is amazingly talented, artistic-wise. She manages my kitchen. She handles everything back there, which allows me to work on this end of the business and sell the chocolates. Right. Everything that goes to you, Kat, that you love so much, that's decorated so beautifully, it's all on her. I get the credit, but it's all her that does it. I try to let everybody know that she does.
She gives me credit.
Yeah, I do. And then Ramona, she sells. So she's up in the retail store taking the phone calls, and she is a people person too and loves to do that. So the 3 of us together are the main force of the business. Trish is our bookkeeper. She's not here today, and then we bring in all the other people that help. So without these 2, I have nothing. And so we're just working every day. Like Julie, it's funny. I came in this morning. She's already got Christmas tree molds back there trying to talk to me about the design of Christmas trees. Meanwhile, I'm still thinking about Father's Day truffles, which she designed amazing truffles for Father's Day, and so that type of thing. So these 2 are my main 2 people that help me through my business. So I'm very fortunate.
Well, it's really nice to meet you. And just really quickly, we've been talking to Michelle about success and what her success principles are. Seeing the business, from the inside out, what would you say is the success of Homemade Chocolates by Michelle?
I think just meeting the needs of the customers, and it's really rewarding to come up with something custom made that puts a smile on their face, and I think it's great to make people happy.
That's what we all love.
People.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel the same way too. It's the customization. It personalizes for everybody, on every single level. So definitely the customization.
That is what definitely sets us apart from the rest.
Yes.
Kat, we can do, the Grand Blanc logo for the kids, or we can do, just like with Owen, your mom bought him back in the day a theater type thing. And, you're toward theater. So that's the part I love, to get the phone call most, like they want this. And I'm like, okay. And then I go back to Julie and expect, like we joke about it. I'm like, can you make a plaid on this? And, I get a little ridiculous. She's like, okay, stop. I'm like, can you just make a plaid scarf with like some fringe on the bottom? Like I test her and she laughs at me, but so we kind of laugh about those types of things. But she's very artistic, and I think my work shows. Obviously, that's her work that shows in this business. So that's the best part about the business. Like Julie said, making the customer happy is our number one. Without happy customers, we don't have a business. So we're a niche. We're a special niche. There's Frankie Muth up there. There's a chocolatier in Fenton. A couple people do things out of their home that we hear about, different things. But I think that we stand out from the rest because we do personalization. We can do your business logo, success principles on an Oreo cookie. When you go out, people,
I don't know if I'll get Kat to work if you do that. She'll be eating all the time.
5 pounds just on this interview. I totally did.
You know what I mean? So it's just, we like to let people know all those things we can do for them. Anything that doesn't, we're local, so you don't need a minimum, because a lot of big companies would want a 500 minimum piece to take an order. We don't have to do that. Being local, we get to do that. So for our people, we delivered our bereavement tray, which is a tray of chocolate with colored flowers on it. I think I showed you that a little bit earlier. And we deliver these free to any funeral home or residence in Genesee County when someone's had a loss, and that's in honor of my late husband. I do that. So the chocolate flowers, we have 7 different types or 6 different types of flowers that you get to choose online or on our website which ones you like. So that this is a special thing that holds place, in our hearts here is this. I get to keep Jim's memory alive for myself and my kids, and people love to get this versus flowers. We received so many flowers when he passed, and I wanted to do something different that people could have comfort for a minute, and chocolate is comforting. This took off last year. I started to tell you earlier, we did 150 sales online last year. Through COVID, of the 12 weeks, we did 450 online sales.
Wow.
Those
Congratulations.
Some of those people were local because they couldn't come. Some did curbside, some did delivery. But since then, I bet I've met probably a dozen new people hearing about us. So it's interesting how this is going to go. I don't know. And we always want, like I said, we all want to see the crystal ball, and we can't. So we live, every day not knowing what's going to happen. But I think all good things are coming our way for sure.
Oh, that's great. Well, you've highlighted a lot of different things, Kat. I know that you had talked about some of the principles that have guided her success, and you've outlined some of those. And I think really just showing that you're there for the customer, and the customers are realizing that, and they feel the love from you, and you give the love back, and that is a big success principle.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Thank you.
congratulations on that. And we could talk forever. You try to limit this to 30 minutes, but we'd like to know, you've got a storefront on Bristol Road. Kat kind of talked about that. You have a website, www.michelleschocolate.com. And we're going to list some of those things underneath the podcast there.
Okay.
You've got store hours, usually from 10 a.m. to 4, it looks like.
One late
Sunday closed. And let's
then
get your phone number out there.
Okay, yeah. 810-391-6991.
Very good.
We're here for retail. We do wholesale business to grocery stores. We have a corporate entity, and then we also do weddings, baby showers, bridal showers. So we pretty much hit all the different avenues. I don't think there's anything. If you want chocolate for your event or your time in your life, we can make that happen.
Great. Love it.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for doing this. I really appreciate you coming in. My mouth is watering for chocolate now. Thank you very much.
Well, I so much appreciate you guys having me today, and I hope I didn't talk too long. So
No, not at all.
What it's about. You did a great job.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to our show. We know your time is valuable, and we appreciate that you have taken the time to stop by for a bit.
For more information about the topics we discussed today, there are links in the show notes for your reference. If you'd like to learn more about the Success Principles podcast and about Kat and myself, go to www.successprinciplespodcast.com. Gina Wells is an investment advisor representative of Retirement Wealth Advisors Incorporated, an SEC registered advisor. Success Principles podcast and RWA are not affiliated. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. This information should not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with professionals specialized in fields of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of the information for their situation. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments will fluctuate, and when redeemed may be worth more or less than originally invested.